So Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach has already seen some crazy speedruns since its release, from exploiting bugs that deload most of the game, to abusing exploits to get out of bounds to beat the game in under 3 minutes. Now, all of the runs I've covered on the channel so far have had the same objective: beat the game as soon as possible. But what if something else was the goal, like, say, trying to feel the touch of a woman as soon as possible? That's right, woman% is a real speedrun category with the ultimate goal of reaching Vanessa. And although there aren't that many runners in this category yet, I just found the idea of it so funny, and it features a few speedrun tricks we haven't covered yet on the channel, so I wanted to check it out. Anyways, smash that like button for a free sip of Fizzy Faz. Let's check out the woman% speedrun and how some runners were able to reach the white woman jump scare in less than 8 minutes. Alright, so much like the other speedruns I've covered, check them out if you haven't already. The timer for the run starts as soon as Freddy's battery meter here drops down to 2 bars. And for those that haven't seen any Security Breach speedruns yet, one really nifty trick you can do to save some time is to turn the dialogue volume all the way down, which will actually cause the game to skip through some dialogue scenes. Also, you might be wondering why I'm playing the game with no lighting effects. Sure, it doesn't look as pretty, but this is incredibly helpful for seeing stuff in the distance when in the void, which we'll see later on. Anyways, after grabbing the Faz watch from Freddy's cavity and opening the door, we have to hop on up these boxes, crawl through the vent, and then make our way through Rockstar Row here. Nothing crazy yet, but that's like 20% of the run done already. The next step here once again requires a speedrun trick that I covered in a previous video that's used to skip right to the under construction Roxy Raceway section of the Pizzaplex. This is also a good time to point out that in order to do most of the tricks shown off in this video, you'll need to be running on the original pre-patch version of this game, as unfortunately, several exploits have been patched out, namely this one. Anyways, by simply getting into this corner of this room here, you can exploit the hitbox of the poster here to jump up the side of the wall to actually make it over and get right out of bounds of the Pizzaplex. Once out of bounds, you can run along in the back room's void until you reach this under construction area. Once here, you have one of 2 options. You can either do the trick I've covered in the previous video where you jump onto these trash bags to get over to this area and then hop along these wall segments here to get into the Fazer Blast entrance area. Or a new trick I've seen is that you can run up these scaffolding stairs instead, make a jump across to this thing, and then this will actually cause the room to deload itself, which will then let you fall down out of bounds, where you can then run on over to the Fazer Blast entrance. Now personally, I struggle a lot with the first method, and I found this second method much more consistent and just overall easier, so I'd probably recommend it more. Also, when trying this strategy, I kept falling out into the void below, which at first I thought was a run killer. But it turns out that if you fall here, you actually get teleported right into the Fazer Blast lobby area. Normally, you'd have to get into the entrance area, run up alongside the stairs here, jump on top of the kiosk thing, and then you just simply jump across to the elevator room to deload the map, which will then let you get right into the Fazer Blast area without needing a party pass. But yeah, just falling here saves the trouble of having to do all of that, and I didn't see this in any of the submitted runs, so ya boy might have just discovered a new strat. Anyways, once here, finally deviating from the other speedruns that I've covered, instead of doing any sort of exploit to get to the Vanny ending, we actually want to get into the security office here and grab the security badge by booping this nose. Now that we have this pass, we have to leave this area, and again, since we don't have a party pass, this fella is still blocking the way, so we'll need another way to get through. And here we have another speedrun trick that I haven't covered yet on the channel, or even seen until researching this category. Basically, if you stand in a certain spot and let one of the security staff bots grab you, you will be pulled away for the jump scare animation. But once it's done, you basically get put back where you started, and I guess if you're close enough to certain walls, this will, you guessed it, cause the room to deload, allowing us to easily get through the elevator and back to the main atrium. Once here, most of the areas are barricaded off, and in any other game, we'd be stuck here. But this is FNAF Security Breach, so if there's a will, there's probably a way. And here, the way is incredibly simple, as you can just jump on top of these garbage can things if you jump off near the rail. Yeah, it's that easy. Then next, after making our way to the second floor, we can do another staff bot exploit, and this time featuring everyone's favorite, MapBot.
Take a map.
So since we didn't get into this area the normal way using the elevators here, the trigger for MapBot's first jump scare here is still active, and since we aren't tripping it the intended way by stepping off the elevator, you can expect some nonsense. Well, basically, if you approach the elevators and essentially hug the wall on your right, once you get to the jump scare trigger, it will bamboozle the game and you will get forced right through the wall and into the void. Now, this trick isn't necessary, but the elevator rides are quite long in this game, so doing this will save a whole bunch of time. And you get to skip having to see MapBot, so that's always a plus. After this, it's important to not go back inbound since our next destination is the daycare, and going through normally requires you to sit through the intro cutscene, and yeah, we want to save time here, not walk through creepy animatronic infested ball pits. Anyways, you basically just want to stay as close as possible to the inside areas as to not fall into the abyss below, and after a while you'll make it down into the main daycare play area. Now, thankfully, we don't have to play through the entire segment of this area here, as there's another nifty little trick we can pull off. Here, after booping the nose to start the lockdown sequence in this area, you can quickly jump onto the cabinets behind the counter, from which you can then jump on top of the flashlight recharge station, and then here, you can actually jump over the invisible wall that prevents you from leaving this area after the button is pressed. This jump isn't super difficult, but there is a lot of pressure on it, as if you mess it up, the next cutscene will start, and then you'll be stuck in this area having to go through it normally, basically killing the run. But if done correctly and fast enough, you can hit the button here and the game is tricked into thinking you already beat the segment, and as such, Sunfella here will carry you outside. The cutscene still has to play out, but thankfully once it's done, we're taken back outside. If you're wondering why we went through the trouble of doing this since we already had another security pass, basically we just need to progress the story in the game a bit to unlock some objectives later in the game that let us get to Vanessa. Also, when doing this trick here, the time in the game will actually glitch out to -1:30 AM for some reason before going back to a more proper 12:55 AM. I guess negative time is a thing in the FNAF universe. Anyways, next we have to get to a recharge station for Freddy, watch as Vanny hops along, and then we're on to the last stretch of this run. Now we have to get back into the main lobby area, but oops, we don't have a daycare pass to open this door. But worry not, as there's yet another exploit we can do here. If you leave Freddy far enough away and then call him near this door, he will come to you from the other side and open the door for you. This isn't enough though, as there's still an invisible wall blocking our path. But by simply just jumping into Freddy, you can just walk on through to the other side, or you can just get out, which will place you on the other side as well. Next, you have to go in and out of the elevator in the main lobby area here to activate the next objectives, but instead of actually going down the elevator, we gotta run back to just left of the main entrance for another speedrun trick here. In the corner of this closed-off door, just like with the poster near the start of the run, you can use it to jump up the wall to once again clip out of bounds. Then next, after some more running in the out-of-bounds voids, here you actually do want to drop down, and if done in the right spot, you'll fall near the loading docks of the Pizzaplex. After getting through the pizza kitchen, we can quickly interact with the loading dock controls to activate the next set of objectives. Then we hurry through the bathroom and shower area to get to the laundry room, and then we reach this door and, oh, it's just MapBot again. Ha, just kidding, we have reached woman, and as such, that is time for this run. After only about a day of running this category, I was able to get an alright time of just over 9 minutes. And although I thought this was a pretty solid run, the current world record held by Sorrow has an in-game time of 7 minutes and 19 seconds. That said, since there's only 12 submitted runs as I make this video, I guess I can add getting top 5 in the world for woman percents to my resume. Although not as quick of a run as some of the others I've covered for this game, I thought it was cool to see some new speedrun tricks that typically wouldn't be seen in other categories. And honestly, this was one of the more stressful runs I've done, as one wrong move almost anywhere will cause you to fail the entire run. Anyways, while you're here, check out some of my other speedruns I've covered, and be sure to subscribe to find your way back for future videos. And as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in a bit.